Can I survive a week without any modern distractions? Imagine being dropped into a world with no Netflix, no video games, and no social media. Sounds easy, right? But what if I told you that our ancestors faced a similar challenge every day, and it led to a silent killer that shaped their societies in ways we're still discovering today? Boredom. It's a feeling most of us try to avoid at all costs. The moment we're forced to wait in line, sit in silence, or spend a few minutes alone with our thoughts, we instinctively reach for our phones. Within seconds, we're scrolling through videos, checking messages, or consuming another piece of content. But for thousands of years, that option didn't exist. Ancient people had no endless stream of entertainment, no notifications, no recommendation algorithms designed to keep them engaged. And yet they managed to build civilizations, create works of art, develop philosophies, and explore the world. So how did they deal with boredom? And more importantly, what can their experience teach us about our own lives? To understand the answer, we first need to understand what daily life actually looked like in the ancient world. For most people, life was incredibly repetitive. Imagine waking up before sunrise every morning. You walk the same roads, work the same fields, use the same tools, see the same people. Then you repeat the process the next day, and the day after that. For ancient farmers, craftsmen, laborers, and merchants, daily routines rarely changed. Entire generations could spend their lives within a few miles of where they were born. Travel was rare. Entertainment was limited. New experiences were uncommon. Life moved slowly, much more slowly than it does today. The ancient Egyptians are a perfect example. Their civilization was one of the most advanced in the ancient world. Massive pyramids were constructed. Complex religious systems flourished. Governments managed vast territories. But behind these incredible achievements were ordinary people performing repetitive tasks every single day. Scribes spent countless hours copying documents by hand. Laborers transported stone blocks under the scorching sun. Priests repeated the same rituals according to strict traditions. These jobs were essential to society, but they often lacked variety. Even in one of history's greatest civilizations, monotony was simply a part of life. The same pattern appeared in ancient Greece and Rome. While these societies offered more opportunities for entertainment, the average person's life was still centered around work and survival. Most people were not philosophers debating ideas in public squares. They were workers trying to provide for their families. Which raises an interesting question. If boredom was such a common part of life, how did ancient societies prevent it from overwhelming people? One answer was community. Unlike modern life, where people often consume entertainment alone, ancient societies relied heavily on shared experiences. Festivals brought entire communities together. Religious ceremonies created a sense of purpose and belonging. Markets became social hubs where people exchanged stories as much as goods. People weren't simply looking for entertainment, they were looking for connection. Another solution was public spectacle. The Greeks built enormous theaters where audiences gathered to watch dramas exploring love, war, power, and morality. The Romans took things even further. Massive arenas hosted gladiatorial contests, animal hunts, and chariot races that attracted tens of thousands of spectators. These events offered excitement in lives that were otherwise predictable. In many ways, they served the same purpose as movies, sports, and social media do today. They gave people something to anticipate, something to discuss, something to break the routine. But perhaps the most fascinating evidence comes from an unexpected group of people: monks. Early Christian monks living in isolated communities described a condition known as acedia. They spoke of a deep restlessness that would often strike in the middle of the day. Time seemed to move painfully slowly. Motivation disappeared. The mind wandered. Tasks felt meaningless. Some monks even referred to it as the noonday demon. Although they weren't using the modern word boredom, their descriptions sound remarkably familiar, which suggests something important. Boredom isn't a modern problem, it's a human problem. People have been wrestling with it for thousands of years. But here's where things get really interesting. What if boredom wasn't always the enemy? Today, boredom feels like something we should eliminate. The second it appears, we distract ourselves. But throughout history, boredom may have served an important purpose. When people lacked constant stimulation, they often turned inward. They reflected, they imagined, they created. Stories were told around fires, songs were composed, ideas were developed, philosophies were debated, innovations were born. Some of humanity's greatest achievements emerged from periods of quiet reflection rather than endless stimulation. And that brings us to a surprising irony. Ancient people spent much of their lives trying to escape boredom. Modern people have almost succeeded. For the first time in human history, boredom can be eliminated almost instantly. A phone sits in our pocket, a video is one click away, an endless stream of content is available 24 hours a day. Yet despite all of this entertainment, many people still report feeling restless, distracted, and unfulfilled. Why? Because boredom may never have been the real problem. The real problem may be a lack of purpose. Ancient philosophers often warned that comfort and entertainment alone could never create a meaningful life. A person could have endless pleasures and still feel empty. And perhaps that's exactly what makes this ancient lesson so relevant today. Boredom is often a signal that we're craving challenge, growth, connection, meaning. The discomfort we feel in moments of silence may actually be pushing us towards something valuable. But if every moment of boredom is immediately replaced with scrolling, notifications, and distractions, we may never discover what that signal is trying to tell us. The people of the ancient world didn't have a choice. They had to sit with their thoughts. They had to find meaning in their communities, their work, their beliefs, and their relationships. And while their lives were undoubtedly difficult, they may have understood something we're beginning to forget. Sometimes the most important ideas emerge when there's nothing else competing for our attention. So the next time you feel bored, resist the urge to reach for your phone immediately. Take a moment. Sit with the feeling, because the very thing you're trying to escape might be the thing that helps you discover what truly matters. If you made it this far, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think boredom is something to avoid, or could it actually be useful? Share your perspective, and don't forget to subscribe for more historical insights and thought-provoking stories.